Welcome to the Dirty Lazy Girl podcast. I'm Stephanie Laska, best-selling author and creator of Dirty Lazy Keto.
And I'm Tamara Snezik, professor of sociology. We believe there are many paths, often unconventional, to achieve your goals. But we get stuck thinking we have to follow experts and fixed set of rules.
Well, as the leader of the Dirty Lazy Keto Facebook support group with over 200,000 members, I see people are hungry for a fresh approach, not just for weight loss, but to help live their very best life. Season 2 of the Dirty Lazy Girl podcast will provide lifestyle advice, lots of fun support, and practical tips to help you at home. Because you know what? You don't have to be perfect to be successful. Join us. Tamara, I'm so glad you called.
Yes?
I was just about to eat a double chocolate mug cake for lunch. I need an intervention.
Yummy.
Tamara, I convinced myself it was a good decision. I mean, I know it's sugar-free. It has eggs, right? Protein.
Yeah.
I don't know. But Tamara, I need to check myself. I think I'm getting depressed because I'm looking for chocolate to make me feel better during this quarantine.
Oh my gosh. I've been feeling the same way. And in fact, I just had yesterday probably the worst day yet. Yeah, I just got in this negative mind. Like I got super anxious because work was going terribly. And then everything just snowballed. Like the dinner burned, the dog wouldn't stop whining to go in and out. And honestly, I couldn't stop it.
It's hard.
I need help. Yeah, I'm not staying positive. I don't know. It's on this train and I've gotten on the train.
Well, we got to get you off that train.
I know. Woo woo. Well, instead of continuing down this train path, why don't we get some guidance on how we can have strategies for learning how to stay positive during a negative situation, Stephanie?
Well, I think it's a great idea.
And how many tips do we have today?
Today, we're going to give our listeners 10 tips.
Nice.
We're going to get crazy and serious. We need help.
I know. So first, though, let's take a quick break.
Okay. Well, today's podcast, our very special Calling Each Other podcast, is brought to our listeners by the all-new Dirty Lazy Keto Get Started Losing Weight While Breaking the Rules, which comes out on May 5th. And interesting, in chapter 6, I talk about eating our feelings. I know that's what I was about to do with my chocolate mug cake. But in chapter 6 of the new book, I talk about how I navigated emotional triggers and provide practical steps on what you can do at home. I'll tell you the whole story. Check it out. Dirty Lazy Keto Get Started. It's the book with the red dot on the cover at dirtylazyketo.com/books.
Okay, let's dive into our 10 strategies to stay positive during a disaster. But since we're recording this episode over the phone, I'll let our listeners know we're going to be using a slightly different format. Each of us will share our own tip, and then I'll toss it back to you, Stephanie, and you share your tip. But looking at the corona crisis positively, it's allowing us to try some new formats.
Look at you turning that frown upside down.
I know, because we were wondering how we're going to do this.
Well, we tried to sit apart from the dining room table, and we got worried that we're still influencing each other with the virus. So this is safer.
Yes. Plus, my dog kept bothering you through the whole podcast.
Well, I'm sure someone will still come and bother us during this.
I know. Just a warning. A lot of interruptions possible.
That's okay. We're being flexible.
That's right. Good job.
What's your first strategy, Tamara, that you're trying to do to stay positive?
Well, first, I think I need to recognize where the negativity is coming from. Like the other day, a lot of that really was just the anxiety and stress of all the uncertainty right now. So you need to ask yourself, are you really mad at that person you care about? Or is it just the coronavirus anxiety talking? And even just asking that question will calm you down, that in and of itself. And it will remind you how entangled your own anxieties are with anxieties about the virus. I mean, let's just face it. We're, flaring up more than usual. And so ask yourself that question so that you can recognize where it's coming from.
Well, you know what? I agree with you, Tamara, but sometimes people in your house just might be grumpy. I just got to tell you, there are people in my family who will remain nameless, even though there's only 4 of us. Hopefully they're not listening. But sometimes they get I'm joking, but come on, let's be real. I mean, sometimes negativity is contagious. And I think it's important for our listeners to be aware that one negative person in your household can really affect everyone else in the environment. And
Yes.
you know what? We cannot change other people. I think that's important to realize. Just because you want them to be a different way, it's not going to happen. So instead of trying to change other people in your house, which won't happen, I think you should move away to a different part of the house. Specifically, hide in a closet if you need to. Okay. Or you could always get in your car and go for a short drive. There's nothing wrong with having private space in your car. And if that's not an option, I know, Tamara, you and I have both done this, but put on headphones and drown out the noise. And by noise, I mean negative, grumpy people. So blast some music and, block them out.
Excellent advice.
That's my tip. Thank you very much. Goodbye, negative people.
Bye-bye. Headphones on.
Bye-bye. Can't see you later. Meet you at dinner.
That's right. Well, my second tip is to help you get more positive is to savor the small moments. I mean, when we're in crisis, it kind of reminds us that we only have the here and now. Like, I know this sounds terrible, but we may not have tomorrow. It's just another reminder of that. So we should really try to enjoy the little things like the smell of coffee and how much I enjoy it in the morning, or, a warm shower and how good that feels, or just the sunshine, or going out when we're exercising and feeling, the warm air on our face. All those things help keep us positive, keep us calm, keep us centered. So just focus on the little things.
I like that. I mean, staying in the moment and really valuing what we're doing in the moment. It's key, right?
For life in general, but especially now.
Yeah. And it sounds like you're really turning the negative into a positive. So
right.
I've been trying to do that too with spending more time as a family. I know it can be a negative or a drag, like, oh my gosh, we're locked in this house together and we can't see anyone else. But we've been trying to turn it into a hashtag coronacation.
Oh, God.
Okay. And my daughter taught me that. Apparently it's trending on Instagram, whatever that means. But it's hashtag coronacation. We've decided we're in this together. And it took us, a week to settle into the routine. But my family actually created like a agreed upon activity that we could all do together. And honestly, it took a week to figure it out because we argued, But we decided, even though this is terrible parenting, we are going to watch Walking Dead every night as a family. Do you like that?
Yeah, I love that.
We're going to embrace like the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
And, and it's actually, helping us talk about it. Like, I know it's obviously an extreme, fake show that's horrible. But it's helping us kind of talk about like survival skills and family and negotiation and doing what's right, relying on each other. So it's been really positive.
Yeah. And those movies, the good guys always win. So it's also like reaffirming that you can conquer, crisis.
You can do it all. And your coronation.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so my next tip is to bask in the light. And I mean that literally, like get some sunshine. We know absorbing that light not only physically makes you better, but actually it helps your mood and makes you more positive. So go get some sunshine if you can.
That's so simple, but just so easy to do. There's really no excuse for it. I mean, I know we have to have our social distancing, but come on. I'm pretty sure there's space for everybody on the sidewalk, right?
Right, exactly.
So I've been doing something similar. I call it being childlike because it's stressful right now and we're all kind of worried. So by doing some activities like bike riding or, playing with chalk outside with my family, I get outside, I feel happier, and I feel kind of silly. It makes me feel more positive.
I think a fun way to capitalize on a situation and do things that you wouldn't ordinarily do. And that was one of my next tips, was to create something special just for this time. Like, not something you would do in the ordinary life. So it makes it feel more special. So,
like what are you doing?
Well, being childlike and doing childlike things is one thing, but it can be like a ritual or a like a healthy treat or some kind of fun activity, like maybe dust off your guitar and learn a new song on your guitar, like something that you would never ordinarily treat yourself to because you're too busy or whatever. It's going to just depend on, who you are. I know one thing I've been doing is trying a lot of new fun, like gourmet recipes with the groceries that are available in my cupboard, but it's been really fun. And Ella and I have been cooking together too. So that's one of those things like, oh, we're going to remember this as like the special time we did these little special activities that we don't normally do.
I might have to challenge myself to do your tip because y'all know I have that freezer that's full of food in my garage. Yes. So I like your idea about trying to use the available ingredients. And you can even Google that. I don't know if people know, but you can Google what ingredients you have on hand. Like, let's say you had a handful of weird things and you'll be able to find a recipe to match.
That's amazing.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool. You can make a game of it.
You really could be creative, like a can of green beans, a pork chop, and a tomato. I don't know.
You know what our cousins did that was actually a fabulous, fun thing they did? They created their own version of the show Chopped. Where you're given weird ingredients. So they made into teams, like the mom and the son, and then the dad and the other son were the teams. And they both got the same ingredients and they both were on a timer and they had a contest to see who could make the best dish. Is that not totally fun or what?
Okay, that family is making me feel bad about my family for watching The Walking Dead for our activity. So your cousins are like the superheroes of parenting.
Aren't they so creative?
That's very impressive. Well, I have to share, though, I did a moment kind of like what you're saying about going outside and savoring the moment, being positive. My son and I were working on a science project. And to illustrate the point, I was like, why don't you build a boat and we'll see if it floats? And we used all of our old Amazon boxes that have been coming, because I keep ordering more and more and more because I'm hoarding. Let's be real. I'm hoarding toilet paper.
Stop the hoarding, Stephanie.
Finally coming. Well, y'all know I was out of toilet paper, and then I kept ordering it, and finally it's all arrived from China. So I have tons of boxes. So my son and I made a boat out of cardboard, and he got in the boat, and we timed him to see how long it would float in the pool. So,
wow.
I know, right? See, I have my little moments of good parenting.
Yeah. Future engineer.
Well, I was so proud. And I'm like texting pictures to my mom. And she's like, it's cold out. Why is your son in a swimming suit in March? And I'm like, all right.
Oh my God. It's only a mother can do.
That was my good moment. Sorry, I can't be a chopped video.
I have my final one, which is, it's not something you should do, but something you shouldn't do.
Oh, which is a negative example. I like those.
Yes. It's avoid self-medicating. And just watch it. There's nothing wrong with self-medicating. Let me take that back. Self-medicating is okay, but in a healthy way. What I'm hearing, and all my friends are saying that they're turning back to old habits, like that they, try to work so hard to get rid of, like, overeating or under exercising or, smoking or drinking too much or, stuff that they, kind of bad habits. And it's a lot of people are falling back on that to feel better and like soothe the anxiety. So my advice is just catch yourself with that. Like ask yourself, okay, am I drinking too much alcohol? Am I falling to an old pattern that I don't want? And if you are, find an alternative and, give yourself a pep talk with that. Cause you just don't want to, explode in like gaining weight or just, totally getting rid of your exercise or all those good habits you work so hard for.
No, you're right about that. I think that we all have coping mechanisms that we rely on during times of stress. I know for me, just certainly eating is an issue. And when I'm home, I know we all joke about like, I need social distancing from my refrigerator, right? Because like I'm home and then I feel the urge to snack more when I'm nervous or anxious. So I can see how that could apply to other people's situations where they might turn to other, old bad habits. So you're right about like just checking yourself and being aware of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, for me, I'm not like trying to cut it all together because I don't think that's realistic, but I'm trying to substitute the snacks because I am going to eat more being at home. I'm going to be honest. So I'm going to just prepare for it and eat different types of food more often.
Exactly. And that's saying, it's don't deny yourself. It is a time we need to self-soothe. But like you said, just make like more mindful choices in your, what you choose.
Yeah. And it was funny, last week we talked about the sweatpants versus the jeans.
Yes.
And that just made me laugh. And I kept thinking about that all week. And I was thinking how one thing I'm doing is I'm not doing my hair. And for me, that's been like this huge relaxation. I put my hair in braids and I can't do that at work. But for me, It's like such a cool thing. It makes me feel more relaxed. Like I'm doing a treat for myself, cut out that part from my schedule. So
yeah. And what a healthy kind of self-care.
Yeah. It's just fun. It's whimsical. It makes me feel silly and just happy.
It's also childlike, right? Because braids are like being a kid again.
Yep. And I got my hat on, my beanie. I'm all in.
You just need the little twirly beanie with the little propellers on it.
We should be videoing this podcast.
No.
I
look like death warmed over.
I look like I'm in high school. So I don't know. Whatever you got to do to stay happy, right?
Exactly.
And I had a couple of tips for you. I got off count here, but one of them is, I know a lot of people, my parents included, they like to have the television on kind of all day as a background noise. A lot of people do that.
Yeah.
And I just had someone in our Facebook group suggest and turn off the TV and put on music instead. Mm-hmm. And by listening to podcasts or music on Spotify or Pandora, you can find really upbeat, happy music to set the mood. And that way you're not monitoring the craziness of the crisis. Yeah. And instead you're replacing it with a background, setting the tone for what kind of day you really want to have.
Well, it's funny. I experienced that because I was using one of your tips, Stephanie, and because I don't have a home office right now, which is like the worst time to not have a home office. So I'm working out in the living room and it kept getting interrupted. So my husband got me these giant headphones and everybody was told, when mom has the headphones on, she's working, don't interrupt her. Well, the side benefit of that was I was playing music in the headphones while I was working. And Stephanie, it was really, I noticed, helpful to my anxiety. Like my toes were tapping, pretty soon I'm like kind of dancing around. I was like, oh, that was like an unexpected, benefit.
It really can be. And share your playlist too, Tamara. It sounds like you've got some good jams lined up. It works.
Weird jams. It does.
It really does work. It's such a simple thing. And I save those playlists for different times. Like I've been doing yoga in my living room and I have like a special playlist. And I got to tell you, my dog has been joining me on the yoga mat, which is super annoying. She's like licking me and, putting her head in between my arms and legs. And at first I'm like, this is so irritating. But then I'm like, it's kind of fun. Like I'm petting her, I'm doing my downward dog. She starts doing the same pose. Yeah. And it's funny. Like I could make a video about it. It's hilarious.
I've seen some of those and they are hilarious. And you know what? Your dog's benefiting. She's getting your attention.
She really is. Well, that's my last tip is to turn to comedy. And, whether you're watching a romantic comedy on Netflix or listening to like family friendly podcasts like Jim Gaffigan or Ellen, like enjoy some humor. This is a stressful time. And if you focus on some good jokes, it can help you get through it.
That sounds great. Well, listeners, let us know what helps you stay positive and not get overwhelmed and anxious during a crisis. Tell us your story by emailing Stephanie@dirtylazyketo.com or via Facebook or Instagram @dirtylazyketo. Before we get to our personal favorite hacks, let's take one last break.
Well, today's episode is brought to you by my new book, Dirty Lazy Keto, Get Started Losing Weight While Breaking the Rules. It comes out on May 5th. And this is not just a book about what to eat. More than half of the book shares practical tips to help you overcome the challenges that you will, of course, face during your weight loss journey. And I was able to overcome the odds and maintain my weight loss now for 7 years. So I hope that you'll trust me with your journey. Learn how with Dirty Lazy Keto, Get Started Losing Weight. It's the book with the red dot on the cover. Check it out at dirtylazyketo.com /book.
Okay, let's dive into our hacks, Stephanie.
Well, this one might make you laugh, and that's good, right? Because we're on
Right.
the positivity episode. But my recommendation is to smile while you scream. And what I mean by that is that when you find yourself feeling angry, sad, depressed, try smiling. A simple smile can just turn all of your emotions around in an instant. And I learned this last week. I was finishing my recording for the audiobook for the new book that I keep talking about, Dirty Lazy Keto Get Started. And oftentimes in the recording studio, I would start to choke up. I'd start to cry. And the audio coach publisher lady, she was telling me this tip. She said, start smiling and then try again. And sure enough, it worked. It would change my mood. It would make me feel more positive, and I'd feel happier.
Yeah, that sounds great. It's like, do the action that will lead to the feeling.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, exactly.
On your coronacation. What about you? What's your final hack, Tamara?
Well, mine is pretty much along the lines of what you said about, finding funny movies and, looking at funny videos. My tip is to laugh at yourself because you have to. I mean, I've done, I look idiotic walking around in these big headphones, dancing around while I'm trying to work. It's absurd, like the craziness of the whole situation. I think we actually need to, rather than get upset and mad that it's crazy and absurd, but actually embrace it and laugh at it and have fun with it. For me, I've been going on, I love my memes. So I found a bunch of memes and I keep posting them on my social media where they're just laughing about the whole absurdity of it. So here, I'll just name a few.
Yeah, I want to hear one. Tell me. You better send these to me. These are funny.
I know. Hey, Mom, when is the coronavirus going to be over? Mom says, shut up and eat your toilet paper.
Nice. That.
I know. Okay, just one more. In an unsettling turn of fate, I am now yelling at my parents for going out.
I like that one. I think, Tamara, you may have a future as a comedian. You never know.
Thank you. I'll be here all day.
She'll be here all day. Well, listeners, we hope that you understand that we're not trying to be insensitive. We know that everyone's situation is very different in terms of being quarantined, and we're not trying to make light of those that are suffering or who have endured health crises in your own family. We are trying to help you get through what could be one of the most difficult moments of your life. And so, keep that in mind as you're considering our tips for maintaining positivity. Because the big picture is when the world seems out of control, there's really only one thing you can do about it. And that's control how you will respond. You can control your outlook and your attitude. No one can take away your optimism. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dirty Lazy Girl podcast.
And don't forget to visit dirtylazyketo.com where you can join the conversation and gain access to all kinds of free content to help you on your dirty lazy journey.
If you enjoyed today's podcast, consider supporting us by subscribing, rating, and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts.
Be sure to stay tuned for our next Dirty Lazy Girl podcast where we give you even more tips and support.
You don't have to be perfect to be successful.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.